He's here.
Right there.
Been underneath the table again.
Politics. Why, he's already elected.
Yeah. It is warm in here, isn't
It is tonight. I don't know what happened.
Better shut up.
Oh, is he?
it?
Cool. Okay, everybody ready?
Usually an icebox.
Council workshop meeting, Monday, June 3rd, 2024, 6 p.m. Bear?
Here.
Briggs?
Here.
Coulter?
Here.
Heidrich? Here. Holtmeyer?
Here.
Patke?
Here.
Reed?
Here.
Wessels?
Here.
Please rise for pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will all the committee members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the meeting dated May 6, 2024? Bear?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
Heidrich? Here. Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Patke?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye. Need a motion for approval, please.
So moved.
Motion by Bear, second by Patke. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that's approved.
Report of department heads, Administration Department, levy scooters.
I don't see the applicant here, Jesse, so I think what we will do is, I believe Kevin has got a report, a little update with regards to the what we had to do down at South Point for the sewer line and the South Point sewer repair. That's on your adjustment agenda for city council at 7 o'clock, so I asked him to give a little bit more detail on that. So Kevin, come on up.
Good evening, council. I don't know if you remember or not, but last year, we had a collapse on our sewer line into Brookview, coming out of Brookview subdivision into, I do believe, St. John's Creek. And we worked on it, and we came through, and we went out for bids. We had two bids that came through. One was from CV Brothers at about $138,000, and the other one was from KJU at $95,000, a little over $95,000. Well, we finally got that done. It took us almost a year to get it done after design and redesign and rethinking and everything else that went along with that. So we're at the point where we need to make a payment for it. So that's what I'm asking is for final payment to approval to make payment on it. So
What had to be redesigned that it was, I mean, is it in the ground buried sewer line?
yeah, it's in the ground. It's functioning and everything. When we started designing it to put it back in the same nature that it was, which was extended over the creek,
Oh, yeah.
we was going to have to expand the bridge a lot more, and it could have cost a whole lot more. So when KJU got to looking at it, Kurt, I'll use his name, Kurt, had done some checking, and we had been running that sewer as what they call an inverted sewer, meaning flow comes down and it goes back up. We ran that way for a year. So Kurt got looking into it, and through his college days, he remembered doing a report on inverted sewers that are used a whole lot in the European countries. So he did some checking, got a hold of the state, and it's approved in the United States to use that way. So we kind of redesigned the whole plan and came up with an inverted sewer system, which now everything's underground. So we won't have to worry about a repair that we did that could eventually collapse back into the creek. So that's why it kind of took so long. There was a lot of thinking going on what was the best way to fix it and not have to come back in possibly 10 or 15 years and redo the same thing. Because what had happened was the way that creek makes a curve right there, it eventually washed out enough of the bank that it brought two big trees down and sloughed off the whole bank and brought the sewer line down into the creek with it, so.
Kevin, from our Public Works meeting, didn't that design also save us money?
Yes, it did.
Eliminated a pump or?
Well, what they was able to do was they was able to put the new sewer line in while the old sewer line was still flowing. So at the very end, all they had to do was disconnect and reconnect the sewer. So they plugged off the line real fast, hooked it all together, and got it flowing, which saved right around a little under $6,000 for a bypass pump that we would have had to do. So, which would have been on top of that 90, which would have been a totally different, project part. So we saved a little bit of money on the whole project doing that. Plus, we've got a sewer line that we we'll have to do some maintenance to it here and there, just some general maintenance, but as far as major repairs, we shouldn't have anything to do with it, so.
How big was that sewer line that collapsed under the railroad tracks?
24 inch. So I can give you a little report on that
Can you,
if you'd
yeah,
like
can you
to.
explain what happened there and what you guys did?
So we found out on the 20th, I got a call from Jason from the street department that the railroad had stopped the train and found a sinkhole under what they call track 1, which is the closest to Front Street. They thought it was a storm drain, so when they called me down there, when I got down there, it was definitely a sewer line. So what had happened was, I guess over the years, the trains going across the track finally caved in the top of the sewer main. So we had about 8 feet of 24-inch sewer that the top had collapsed into itself underneath the track. So we spent a whole lot of hours down there, getting it back together, working with the railroad, working with their construction crew, because they're the only ones that can dig around the tracks. You know, we can't just roll out there with our equipment and do it. And it took us about 38 hours. We had it back together, and instead of putting clay in, we took all the clay out and put a steel section of pipe in there underneath that track. So
That 24-inch was clay?
24 inches clay. So track 2 still has clay underneath of it, but track 1 now has steel. So we put it in so that if we have to do anything, if anything has to be done in track 2, they can go back to steel and attach to steel and then have steel all the way underneath of it. So hopefully that doesn't happen for a long time.
And, I mean, you alluded to the fact that we can't just dig on railroad property and all that kind of stuff. I mean, so all that was taken care of. I know that's a sticky situation as far as right-of-ways and all that kind of stuff, but it's because it's our sewer line, we had to repair it.
Yes.
We just had to have their permission to get underneath of there and,
Well, we had to repair it, but we had to have their excavation company that does all the excavation work on the railroad, Greasy, come in and do the excavation. They actually pulled the ties out. They dug around it. We fixed the pipe. We backfilled it with inch minus. They backfilled it with their top rock, they call it.
Trap rock.
Yeah, they covered that, and then they came in, put the ties back in, and then the rail guys came in with their packer and packed it. So, sounds easy, but it was long nights and nasty stuff.
Right.
But
Right.
trains were still going by. We did slow the tracks down. We didn't shut them down. Amtrak was never shut down. That's a big one. If you shut Amtrak down, that's a big one.
so they all went on track 2
Yeah,
for 2 days.
yeah. They'd stage some on the east, some on the west, and then they'd bounce them back and forth. And when Amtrak was coming through, they stopped everything and let Amtrak through.
Your crew got some compliments. Somebody down there was talking with me, and they were really impressed by
Yep.
how long you guys had to stay at it.
Yeah, we stayed longer than we should have, but when you only have a certain amount of manpower, you gotta stay as long as you did. I was down there 27 hours, and I finally had to go home, you can't function after that amount of time. Carrie was with me 27. The second crew, which was a crew of 3, came in and worked another 18, 19, 20 hours, and I came back in after, it was a challenge. But it's behind us now. Well, some of it's behind us now. So that's that. Everything else is going pretty good.
On Brookview, was part of the land that sloughed off, whatever you said, is that someone else's property there?
You know, I'm not real sure. There's kind of I'm not real sure who owns what property there. So what we did to fix that problem was we put shot rock back in to where it had sloughed off. So that, which is around our pipe too. So that area shouldn't slough off or have any problems. Now, something upstream or downstream could happen, but where we actually did our work, it's pretty solid. It's actually real solid, so.
I have another maybe it's you, maybe it's for Tony, but we dug the ditch out down next to Fisher's bulk plant today along the railroad tracks. Is that what Tony, or are you familiar with that? So,
Tony,
okay, we'll ask that when we're finished.
anybody got anything else?
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Can I ask Tony now, if you like?
That'd be great. I just had someone ask me today.
Come on up, Tony.
Yeah, it looks like you dug the ditch out so the water would run down to the storm drain. I mean, it makes sense.
That's the start, yeah.
Yeah, that's a start. So have we gone through the railroad process of that too, or how are we able to do that?
Yeah, we work with a guy, I forget his last name, John. Charles and I work with him. He came down, looked at what we're gonna do, talked about it and everything. He said, no, you guys are good. The section of track we're working on is kind of like a dead section of track.
Right.
So it's not as bad as like where Kevin and them, where the trains are whizzing by, so. But we have worked with him. There's some drains on each end of there, so we're trying to clean that out, get some of that water to move. And then we're gonna put some rock in there, then we're gonna top it off with some soil and level it out. We've flipped a couple lawnmowers over there over the years, because it's so steep and it's just dangerous, so.
A
we're
couple
gonna go ahead and-
concrete structures were laying there on top of the ground, so something got pulled out or didn't
Yeah, they
belong.
pulled some of that out, reestablished that ditch line. We're gonna start bringing rock in tomorrow. We're gonna keep that ditch line there and try to level it off, get some nice grass in there.
Okay, thank you.
Easier to maintain.
Gotcha.
Any other department head you want to talk to?
Chief, I got a question I'm gonna ask while we're
Get
here.
them all up here.
I know your answer already, but I'm gonna ask this question
Okay,
anyway.
well, maybe not.
A year or so or longer ago, we talked about temporary tags out of date.
Mm-hmm.
And you continue to see them around town. Are the officers instructed to pull
Yes,
people
they-
over, do that? If they notice it, they can do that?
Yes.
You don't need to be on complaint-driven?
No, definitely. It's like any other traffic violation, expired plates or speeding or electric signal violation, if they see that, they're instructed to stop.
What brings my question is I know of two exact accidents that happened here in the last month or so, and then the person doesn't have insurance. You know, and a temp tag that's out of date is one of the first.
Typically, that,
They don't have
yeah,
insurance, they haven't registered their vehicle. You know, that's just where it
Goes
goes,
hand
that's
in
where your
hand.
mind goes.
Yeah.
And then you have a tendency to notice it a little bit more. So I was just kind of curious. We talked about that, thought we gave the officers
Sure.
the incentive to.
Yeah, and I can
that.
give them a reminder. We have new officers, obviously, but they're instructed as, you know, when they first come on, that's something to look forward to, but I can
It's
put out a
petty.
reminder, absolutely.
It does sound petty and it does sound minor.
No, but
it's
it's-
one of those deals that
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
in a major accident and someone's without insurance, that ends up being the case.
Yeah,
And Chief, while we're out doing that, those derelict vehicles are starting to pile up again. And I know that's complaint-driven, but if they can just keep their eyes, because they can see, they'll be
Sure.
able to see if something sitting there with three wheels or whatever.
Right.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, no worries.
Also, Chief, if you don't mind, the cameras that are up now, the ones that, plate readers for,
Yeah. Well, they're not operational yet, but they're, by the end of the week, they should be.
and how many are there?
There will be 4 that we have, and then Lowe's has 3.
Okay.
And those are private cameras, though. But we
Somebody-
have access to those.
I haven't gone around and looked, but, somebody was telling me the other day that they were installing more cameras someplace else, and I'm like, I don't think so. I think we're only getting 4.
That's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, good enough.
Thanks, Chief.
Sure.
Thank you. Wayne, do you have can you come up, please?
Rockin' fire.
Note to self, make the agenda full.
There's some people that were out at Runsick Field this weekend, and they're asking, is there certain degrees that the fan is supposed to get kicked on, that big-ass fan? Is there a certain degree, or is it,
No, not that I know
okay?
There's a
of.
switch
Legion's the
inside.
only one that uses it.
I'm
And
sorry?
Legion, as far as I know, I mean, I don't, maybe Little League uses it, I'm not sure, but I would think Legion's the only one that uses it.
So they're the only ones that have permission to use that?
Well, the control's inside and they manage the concession stand, so they would have access to it.
Okay, what about lights? People are saying they're having games at 8 o'clock and they're ending in the dark, or getting called because of it. Saying people are having problems getting down off the bleachers and so on and so forth, because it's dark.
That again, I'm assuming it's probably Legion, that again would be controlled from the inside of the concessions. If you're talking about like the grandstand lights and building lights and stuff like that, it would be controlled, because there's signs inside that, remember to shut the lights off before you leave.
So
type
they're
thing.
not on any timer out there? or-
The field lights are, but the building lights, and around that area, I believe most of them have to be shut off in the concession stand.
So do we know what time the timer is on the field lights?
Field lights? No, I mean, it's ran by a computer, and I'd have to get in the computer, but Kent checks that, like occasionally he'll need them extended if they have a rain delay and
Right.
things like that, and he'll call and we'll have to extend them and stuff like that.
Well,
But the lights are on around the concession stand, like the outside yellow lights are kind of on the walls, you know, it's not protruding.
They're on all the time.
They're on all the time. So you can see to walk around there even when all the lights are off.
Coming off the bleachers and everything like that?
Yeah, under the bleachers is dark, I'll give you that. But there is no lights under the bleachers at all anyway. There is no bleacher lights. That's field lights or around the concession.
There's no other lights around there that would light up those bleachers more? Field lights wouldn't light them up?
The field lights would, yes, that's what I'm saying. If the field lights turn off, and that is an issue because it's controlled by Musco and Iowa that you have to call and extend, and Kent, like if the night's done and they use the lights, then he calls, has to give a code and turn them off. Otherwise, they're on until 11 or 12. I don't know exactly, but I do know.
I didn't know, because like on the skate park, they're on till like 11 o'clock supposedly, but you go by there, they're on later than 11. So I didn't know if there was something that we had a timer on out there. I mean, people are saying there's grandparents that are having troubles getting out of there because they can't see.
Do you know which night that was, or no?
Usually usually Kent brings all that stuff to the department, to me or Chad, and I haven't heard anything yet about this.
The reason I asked, I was there 4 times in the last week, so I know I'm there every single night, feels
This
like.
was yesterday, so. this
Oh, I was not there
long-
yesterday.
Long text got to me, so I don't know, at 5 o'clock, so I don't know if it was Saturday evening or Friday, I have no idea.
I was there Friday night and Saturday night both, in the rain and in the nice weather. And, the field lights are on until everybody leaves, and then Kent makes a phone call and can turn them off early, otherwise they go off automatically at, I think it's 11, Wayne, I think it's,
Yeah,
if it's right.
like 10:30, 11.
Because if you have an 8 o'clock game, it goes till 10:30, it's plenty of time. Usually 11 o'clock is the norm.
Yeah, because this person's even saying, the ump said that, let's see here, the ump said that they need to be set for at least 10:15 to 10:30. They were out before then, so I don't know, I wasn't out there.
Yeah, we can
You know,
check
I-
I don't
You
know.
were. Right.
I would think if they cut off early, Kent, I would have heard today from Kent.
Yeah, they did not cut off early. I was there on Friday night and Saturday night, and everyone was gone out of the bleachers before the field lights went off on Friday and Saturday. Firsthand, I just, but that's not saying I missed a night, I'm just saying. Now, Little League does Mondays and Thursdays for the most part, or average. And then you're right, the switch is inside the concession stand, that the Little League does not open up. And the switch for the fans is inside, that you turn the fans on. Inside the door of the concession stand. With a sign that says turn off when you leave.
Find out if it was a Little League or
Right.
So Little League is not allowed in the concession stand? Is
It's
that
not that they're not allowed, but the Legion has all their food, drinks, everything else in there. They can bring their stuff in and sell it on their nights, but they'd have to bring in a cooler or whatever, So
Say
that's.
the
but
proper, I guess, terminology is they choose not to.
They choose not to, exactly right, yeah.
They don't have that many people that go to those games,
Right,
since it's only one field.
yeah.
good enough? Just
Anything
bringing
else?
it forward.
Other things, guys?
Oh, I got
Thanks,
20 for Wayne, but I'll call him out.
You want me to go into executive?
Yep, we can.
Public vote on whether or not to hold a closed meeting to discuss personnel, legal, or real estate matters pursuant to section 610.021 RSMO 2000. Bear?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Patke?
Sure.
Reed?
Yep.
Wessels?
Hi.
Okay, we're in executive session.